What's up guys, and welcome to a new video here. Today I have for you some of the most famous checkmating patterns in chess. I found these patterns in an article written by Grandmaster Avitik Gregorian, who is one of my favorite chess authors and chess players. I will put a link for the article in the comments down below, so feel free to check it. And also I would recommend to check all of his articles. He's just a great author. Um, I'm thinking of dividing this video into two parts. So today I will talk about 18 checkmating patterns, and tomorrow hopefully I will post a video about the remaining checkmating patterns. So let's dive into the games. So the first pattern is called the evaluate checkmate. This is the checkmating pattern. So you have the king squeezed in between two rooks, or it could be a rook and a pawn, and then the queen in front of the king, delivering checkmate. And as you can see, the two pieces here take the squares, the escaping squares from the king. I have an example here of the same checkmate. I wanted to pause the video and try to find the answer. Also, I will be asking you to pause the video in all the upcoming examples. So first I will show you the checkmating pattern, and then I will ask you to pause the video to solve the exercise. So here the winning move is rook takes on h6. Now the queen defends the rook, so black has to take with the pawn, and it's queen f7 checkmate. So as you can see, the rook and the pawn in this case prevent the king from escaping. The next checkmating pattern is called swallowtail mate, and it's when the king is also prevented from escaping by its own pieces. In this case, we have two pawns, but this time the pawns are preventing the king from moving backwards, and the checkmate here is obviously queen g5. So the pawns are taking both of the escaping squares that the king have. Into the example. You can pause the video if you want and try to solve it. If you're thinking of rook takes here, if you're thinking, here, of rook takes, then I'm sorry, but this is wrong. Because if you take here with the rook, you simply hang your queen. Let's go back. So what you have to do here is deliver a double check, rook g3 check. This is a very strong check. Bishop takes now is not possible because the rook also is attacking, checking the king. The only move is, well, you can go here and get checkmated. But white takes the rook, and now it's queen g4 checkmate. Look, the king is prevented from escaping backwards by its own pieces. The next mating pattern is called Kozio's mate, and it's again when the king is prevented from escaping by its own pieces, but this time it's a diagonal checkmate. Let's see the example here. So pause the video and try to solve this one. This one is a bit difficult if you're a beginner. So the solution is rook takes on g6. So you sack your rook, and after king takes, you have this powerful queen g2 check. And when the king goes to f6, you simply checkmate on g5. And now look, the king is prevented from escaping by its own pieces, and it's a diagonal checkmate. Into the next pattern. This is called the kill box checkmate, and you simply checkmate the king with the rook with the help of the queen, and you have, you could say like an imaginary box here. Into the example. Here we don't have the exact similar position because we have a bishop here defending the king, but since we have two attacking rooks, we can just afford to sack one of them and then checkmate. So the next checkmating pattern is called the triangle checkmate, and it's quite similar to the previous checkmate with the box. It's also with the rook and the queen, but this time the queen is the one delivering checkmate, and the rook is also on the second rank here. Let's see the example. Here we have we have a nice example. The position looks complicated. We have too many pieces here, but we can actually get the same checkmate by playing this powerful move, rook takes on g4. Now, the rook is defended by two pieces here. So after knight takes, we take here with the rook, and after king g7, sorry, king g8, we checkmate on h7. Black can take the rook with the queen, but we simply win the queen, and yeah, next we are threatening the knight, and then we can do the same. So into the next checkmating pattern, and it's called the railroad mate. It's similar to the kill box, but this time we have a sequence. So rook check, king goes to g6, queen f5 check, king goes to g7, rook h7 check, king goes to g8, and now the queen delivers checkmate on f7. Into the example. So we have here a nice position for white. White is white to move and win the game, and it's obviously rook check. Now, if the king goes to g7, queen f8 is checkmate in one. But what if the king goes to f7? Now we have our railroad checkmate. We go check, king goes here to e6, rook d6 check, king goes to e5, queen f6 check, king goes to e4, rook check, king e3, queen check, king e2, rook check, king e1, and finally queen f2 checkmate. The next pattern is called Max Lang checkmate, and it starts with the queen check, the king goes to h7. Now look, the queen prevents the king from escaping in through g6 and through the last rank. So what do we have to do? We can check here. It's also checkmate in several moves, but the pattern goes this way. So bishop check, the king goes back. Now bishop f7, an important move to control the g6 square with the bishop, and once the king goes to h7, we checkmate on g8. Into the example. White here is down a rook, but it's white to move, and white actually has a checkmate, and it starts with queen d8 check, king goes to a7, and now again the similar pattern. Bishop b8 check, king h8, bishop c7 check, discovered with the queen, king a7, and now queen b8 checkmate. The next pattern is called the Balestra mate, and it's a checkmate with the queen and the bishop, but it's the bishop delivering the checkmate here, and it's simply bishop c6 here. Try to solve this example. It's the same checkmating pattern. It's black to move and win. So the winning move here is rook takes bishop with check. Now after pawn takes, we don't check here on h3. We take the pawn with check. Now the only move here for white is to go to e1, and now bishop c3 is checkmate. So this is called the Balestra mate. The next checkmating pattern is called Bucking-Brunko mate. It's a weird name, but it's simply just delivering checkmate with the knight and the queen this way. The queen could stand here and the knight here, so it's the same mate. I mean, let's assume the queen is standing here and you just deliver mate from g6 instead. It's the same. Now into the example. Here we have white to play and win. The queen and the knight are attacking g6, and we can see if we can take on g6 with check, the king has to go back to g8, and then knight f7 is checkmate. But we have a bishop defending. What do? We just remove the defender. Rook takes on e4. Now black can save himself with like playing any move defending g6, but then black would be down a piece and losing. But if black takes the rook, then we take on g6, and knight f7 is checkmate again. The next example is called the sneaky stallion mate, and it's also a checkmate with the knight and the queen, but this time the king is forhindered from escaping through its own pieces. So we have a checkmate here. Into the example, we have now a similar structure with the knight here, but we have a rook. We want to get our queen here, and preferably with tempo. What do? We just check and sack the rook. Now, if the king takes, then we have a check with the queen with the help of the knight. The king has to go back, and then we have our sneaky stallion mate. But if the king does not take the rook and goes back, then we sack the rook again. If the rook is taken, it's the same. And if the rook is not taken, then it's checkmate. The next checkmating pattern is called Damiano's mate. This time I have no example, so this is the checkmating pattern and the example. Try to solve it. Now this goes this way. So you have a pawn here restricting the king from escaping, and if you can get your queen to h7, then it's checkmate. But you have two rooks in the way. What do? You just sack the rooks. So rook h8 mate, the check, king takes, rook h1 check, the king goes to g8. You sack the second rook, king takes, and now you check finally with your queen and deliver checkmate on h7. Now the next checkmate is called Lolly's checkmate, and it's simply when you have a pawn on f6 and you just deliver checkmate on g7. Now this is quite a famous checkmating pattern, and usually it's quite difficult or almost impossible for the king to escape these mating nets. We will see a similar example here. Now it's white to move and win. We can see that we have a pawn here on f6, but how can we get our queen to h6? I mean, this queen is guarding the square. Well, we just deflect the queen. How do we do it? Which piece can deflect the queen? Other than our queen, of course. It's the bishop. How do we do it? We play bishop g3 here. A powerful move. We sack our bishop, and now queen h6 is just unstoppable mate. That's what I mean by a powerful checkmating net. This net is usually just impossible to escape. Now, yeah, black can play anything. There's nothing to stop checkmate. Let's say this, checkmate. The next mate is the famous back rank mate. It's the first checkmate everybody learns in chess. Simply like this. But I have here a more complicated example. And as we can see, the king here is trapped in the back rank. He has no luft, so none of these pawns is advanced. And if we can check with the rook, then it will be checkmate. But the thing is, we have a bishop and in front of the rook. And if we for instance, play something like bishop f5 here, then white gets the time to create luft for his king. So we need to move our bishop with tempo. How do we do it? We attack the queen. How do you attack the queen? We play bishop b3. Now, regardless what white does, we checkmate here. White can, of course, here create luft for his king and lose his queen. That's possible. The next pattern is called the blind swine checkmate, and it's simply delivering checkmate on the second or seventh rank with both rooks and the king trapped by one of its own pieces here on the f file. Here we have a nice example. Try to solve it. Now we can see that we have two powerful rooks here on the seventh rank. We are down a knight, but we have active pieces. How can we checkmate here? Well, we could deliver the same blind swine mate, but the thing is, there is a pawn here. How do we get rid of it? We sack our queen with check. Now after pawn takes, we go check, king, check, king, and rook g2 is checkmate. The next checkmating pattern is called the lone mower mate, and it's simply, a staircase mate. So you have two rooks, or sometimes a rook and a queen, controlling two ranks and checkmating the king. Into the example. Here we can see that we're playing as white. We're down a piece and black is about to mate us. But we have three heavy pieces near the queen side where black's king is. How do we mate? Well, remember the pattern I just showed you. If this pawn was not here, then we will have rook h1 or queen h1, delivering checkmate here. How do you get rid of this pawn? We sack our queen. Check, king, rook h1. The only move is bishop h4 here. Rook takes h4 is checkmate. The next pattern for you is called the h-file mate. You simply mate through the h-file. You could do this also through the a-file in a similar fashion, but you have a strong bishop here on the a1 h8 diagonal. We have the pawn restricting the king, and we deliver mate with the rook, defended by the bishop. Into the example. Pause the video and try to solve it. Now we have a similar case here. We have a strong bishop controlling the whole diagonal. We have a pawn here, so we can't deliver checkmate, but we can get rid of this pawn through the means of rook takes on g3. Now, if pawn takes, then it's checkmate in one. But if it's if knight takes is played here instead, then we sack our queen and we deliver checkmate. The next pattern is called the opera mate. This is the famous checkmate after Paul Morphy, the game he played at the opera, and it's also a checkmate with the rook and the bishop. We will see the example. This example is actually from the game Paul Morphy played, I think, at the opera, and we can see that we have the same bishop here and a rook that could checkmate on d8, but there's a knight in between. How do we get rid of it? Well, we check here on b8, and after knight takes, this is checkmate. And of course, the knight must take the queen. I mean, there are no escaping squares here. The next mate is called, the next and the last for today is the Mayet's mate. And it's also with the bishop and the rook, but this time the king is trapped by the pawns in front of it. It's similar to the back rank one, but this time there's a piece defending the checking square for the rook. Into the example. Now, why to move and win? You can pause the video if you want. The win here is queen takes on f8. After king takes, you see the bishop defends the checking square, and the pawns prevent the king from escaping, and it's checkmate. I hope you enjoyed this video. I really recommend you to study these mating patterns. If you know these patterns, then you will definitely get better at tactics, and you will be able to spot harder tactics. I mean, these look quite basic for you in the beginning, but if you have them in at the back of your brain, then you will be able to see more advanced tactics. I will post a video. I will post a video tomorrow, hopefully, with the other mating patterns. I hope you enjoyed this video. Drop me a like if you did enjoy. If you did not enjoy, drop me a dislike. Write a comment if you want. And thanks for watching. Bye.